is there a path to victory in this series? Let's ask the coach, Jimmy Lynam from NBC Sports Philadelphia. Sixers pre- and post-game live. The coverage tonight as the Sixers get ready for Game 3 against the Celtics. Now, normally, Coach, you're down 2-0. You might expect that to happen. You're coming back home into your building, and you feel pretty good. That's not the case here. So with that not being the case, do you see a path to victory in these games, or are we at the point now on a neutral site, Boston's just a better team?
Well, in no particular order, Mike, I think you bring up several good points. That this thing is showing that in this bubble situation, forget about the advantage. The Sixers, a bit inexplicably, they were phenomenal. I think you have to say the best home court team in the NBA during the regular season. But how you jive that with a 10-24 road record, don't ask me. As I say, I use the word inexplicable. So we can throw out home court advantage. The last thing you said, or is Boston just the better team? There's no question that without Simmons, maybe even with Simmons, but there is no Simmons, so let's stick to the facts. Without Simmons, is Boston the better team? Without any shadow of a doubt. The answer to that is yes. So your final thought, is there a path? Yeah, I think there's a possible path. I would say that the Celtics, particularly in the other night's game, Game 2, I mean, they were phenomenal. They shot the ball so well. Now, you can be critical of Sixer defense if you'd like, but the fact of the matter is that they shot the ball, particularly from three, at an incredibly high level. So I think the Sixers will tweak their defense. I don't think the Sixers will shoot it quite as well. But whatever the Sixers plan on doing, they better bring it all tonight, because this series will be over if they don't win tonight.
Yeah, and I know, we all like to be body language readers and try to read into that. Does this look like a team that has another gear in them, or did Game 2, did they say, you know what, this bubble's not very fun, I'm ready to get out of here?
Well, fair question. Maybe the bubble is a factor, but believe me, when you're getting hammered like that in a playoff game, the Boston Celtics are a factor as well. It's deflating. It's not that you consciously, I call it let go of the rope. It's not that you consciously do it, but you just you get so frustrated. The Sixers were missing easy shots in around the goal. And on those occasions where they were trying to defend the three, to the Celtics' credit, they were knocking down, particularly Jason Tatum, knocking down some really tough shots. So that is really deflating. Now, the Sixers better be able to identify that and be able to say, we need to bring to this game tonight everything we have. When they go on an 8-0 run, we can't just it's over. We have to be resilient. And now, can they? That's why I'm looking forward to watching tonight's game.
What do you think that they should do defensively to try and slow down Tatum and these wing players?
Well, I think the first thing they have to do is, for me, a little bit more variety with regard to pick and roll coverage. Pick and roll, as you know, is the play of choice in this league. I'm not exaggerating when I say Boston ran 100+ pick and rolls. Sometimes they run 3 on one possession. So you have to decide a number of things that you're going to do. The way teams like to guard pick and roll, they like to do the following. Take away your layups and take away your three-point shots. And in so doing, if that means the Kemba Walkers of the world score 20, 25 points on pull-up 15-footers, they're willing to live with that. And that's what the analytics say, and I'm fine with that. However, in the case of the Sixer defense, they're not stopping the layup, number one. Joel Embiid had 5 fouls in Game 1. And they're not stopping the three-point shot. So if you're not doing the two things that your defense is supposed to do, it's time to take a serious look at fooling around with your defense and seeing if something else will work.
Jimmy Lynam's with us. Of course, NBC Philadelphia has coverage tonight. The Sixers tip off at 6:30. You'll see him reacting and getting ready for this game. And obviously, yesterday we had Timmy Legler on. He was very critical of Brett Brown and said the team looks ill-prepared, just poorly coached, just not ready And not particularly in game, but just not ready for the game. Do you look at this team and see a team that is just outfoxed on the sidelines?
Well, no, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, if that were the case, how did they get off to a 14-point first-quarter lead last game in Game 2? If you're not prepared, that's not going to happen. I would be critical of particularly if we can agree that Boston is the better team, we don't have Ben Simmons. All right, you play well enough. They went on a big run in Game 1 late in the third to assume a 4-point lead going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Joel Embiid had 2 shots, 2 points, and didn't touch the ball in the low block area literally but one time. Now, I fault that. If you say you're going to, it was very evident in Game 2, and I heard Brett pregame say we got to get him the ball more. We got to get him the ball in his sweet spot and the low post. And to their credit, they did. They needed that in quarter number 4 of Game 1, because when you're playing a team who is better than you, you're going to have nights where you're not close at the top of the fourth quarter. Not only were the Sixers close, they had a lead, a 4-point lead. You have to play through Embiid some portion of the fourth quarter, given that circumstance.
Why do you think that this offense looks so stagnant? It's almost like once Embiid does get the ball in the post, no one moves, and there's no second option once the double or even triple does come.
Well, again, I don't know if I'd go that far. You don't need a great deal of movement once you get Joel Embiid the ball in the low post. That's up for Joel then to create. If he's guarded straight up, then he's supposed to be able to get a high percentage shot, which obviously he does most of the time. If the double comes, that's when now you have to have scheme to play against the double. I like to draw analogies. It's like in hockey, when you have the advantage. The other team has a guy in the penalty box. You're supposed to score at a higher rate. You have a one-man advantage on the ice, please. So it's real. I always said, I coached for years. A lot of my coaching success with the Sixers was because of Charles Barkley. And I used to sell on my team. I'd say, we're going to have a lot of plays here. And I'd lift up the playbook. I said, you ready? And I would kind of toss the playbook, in a rather dismissive manner. And I'd say, but I'm going to tell you the play that's got to be the best. Your best play when you have a superstar has got to be playing against the double.
Yeah.
Because you don't control that. If they say, you know what, we're going to double you 50 times. Well, there's your 50 times playing against the double with a one-man advantage, please. Yeah. Barkley, there was never anybody better than Charles Barkley of getting the ball out of a double team so you guys can play with a one-man advantage.
It's very interesting you say that, because one problem that I don't think that you had with the point guards that you worked with was they were able to get Charles the ball. How can an NBA point guard not throw an entry pass or an NBA wing player? I mean, they can't get Joel the ball because they have no idea how to get the ball to him.
Mike, I hear you. Let me be a wise guy for a second.
Sure.
I'm going to pick the 2 names you just cited, Barkley and Embiid. Are you ready? You right now in street shoes and a suit. I'll flip you a ball. You could get either of those guys the ball. All you got to do is throw it, okay?
Yep.
And you say, Joe, catch it. Plain and simple, please.
Oh, I like that. I like that answer. So you're.
I got news for you. No. What? I'm not trying. I'm trying to be a little bit flipped. But you ready? That's what I would say. I would tell those guys, watch. His job, okay, the highest paid guy in the building, is to catch whatever I throw to him.
Yeah.
Please.
I
listen to this talk. I don't mean, again, to get.
No.
Just put a ball in the air and tell the guy to catch it. Will you please?
I love the answer, and I love the fact that it seems that, okay, so Joel, get him the ball. Now, the next question would be, it looks like Boston's putting 4 guys in the paint and just saying even if he does catch it, and that's where they fall into a problem, because I feel like maybe, and I might be wrong, that Joel is not consistently good enough at getting the ball out of that double team or maybe the quadruple team, because they're packing him in there.
Well, see, you're dead on. Boston doesn't show you the same look, which is what good defenses in any sport, by the way, do. They give you different looks. Sometimes they'll come with a flat-out double. It comes from different spots on the floor from different players. Sometimes they just crowd him, meaning they shrink the floor. And, they're not totally away from their guy, but they're not up guarding their guy. So, yes, that becomes incumbent upon Joe to recognize what they're doing, to be able to start making his move without turning it over. And I think Joe's gotten better at that, at recognizing defenses and being able to get rid of the ball when they flat out do come and not being forced to force shots. He's doing a good job of getting to the foul line, but it starts with him getting the ball. Now, let me just add one thing. In game one, they lost game one, as I said, for two reasons. The ridiculous turnovers at the top of the game. They ended up with 18 for a 14-point differential. Boston played with 7 turns in game one. So too many turns in the beginning of the game and no Embiid in the fourth quarter is why they lost game one. But if you look at many of those early turnovers, they were like little floater passes. I mean, again, I'm going to be a wise guy. That a CYO point guard would throw. I mean, this is the NBA. You don't put a ball up in the air floating it. You can throw a ball to your big guy. I don't care whether you bounce past it, throw it high, but you just throw it directly to him. Joel Embiid is so good, he'll catch most of them. Please.
Agreed on that. I mean, I saw Josh. I saw Josh Richardson. He left his feet. He left his feet to throw a pass, Coach. I mean, come on.
There you go. Right, Mike. Watch. Let me be again a wise guy. You are a radio personality announcer, and you know you're not supposed to do that. Right. Would you please, Josh Richardson? I mean, Josh.
Yeah. So the next question I guess we would have for you, Coach, you are now Brett Brown, to my knowledge, I don't know this to be 100% true. He does not run the defense, correct?
Well, when you say he doesn't, no, it's like probably you could draw the NFL analogy. No, one of his assistants runs the defense, correct. But that doesn't mean that Brett doesn't have a lot of say.
Oh, no, I'm not, and so I'm not taking him off the hook for that. My question is, whoever runs that defense and comes up with that game plan, he's got no wings to match up with their wings. So how do they do something different if you don't have the athletes to stick with them? Is there something they can do differently when you don't have the wing guys? This happened 2 years ago. They didn't have the wings, and they got blitzed off the court.
You're dead on, and that's a problem. I'll tell you where it starts. It starts in transition. See, they beat you down the floor. And on those instances where you have Al Horford and Joel in the game together, that becomes a huge problem. I mean, I get a kick out of people talking, can they play together? And they start telling me about how to use a bully ball and high-low. That's not the issue. The issue is who is Al Horford going to run down the court and try to pick up and guard? Okay? Al Horford has a flagrant foul in this little series so far in 2 games. What was it? It was a transition play where he was trying to catch up to Jaylen Brown, and he had to throw a right hook around them to catch him. Surprise, surprise.
Who would you start in Game 3 tonight, Matisse Thybulle or Al Horford?
It doesn't have to be Thybulle. You could fill in the blank. Anybody other than Al Horford, and that's not a condemnation of Al the player. It's a condemnation of playing against, as Mike just said, a more athletic, quicker Boston Celtic team that you have to give your guys a chance of matching up with. If you have Joel and Al Horford, essentially 2 centers on the court, you can play bully ball till the stars come out. At one end, you are going to be losing the game. At the other end, because they're going to 3-point shoot you to death.
Well, I can't wait for the passion tonight that you're bringing. I'm getting text messages nonstop. They're enjoying this, Coach, and we always enjoy you. And, hey, we'll see if Brett comes up with something different. He has made adjustments in some of the series in years past. Against Toronto, they did a good job. We'll see if he does it tonight and what kind of Sixers we see. That's 6:30 NBC Philadelphia. Coach Jimmy Lynam, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, guys. Good speaking.